Hello, my name is Joan and I'm a tour guide at the Chester Beatty. If you like women's fashion, I hope you will enjoy this short introduction to some very elegant and stylish engravings. They come from Chester Beatty's early 20th century Parisian periodical, Le Journal des Dames et des Modes. It was a really stylish periodical and was considered to be an expression of the most refined Parisian elegance and taste. It was illustrated by the most gifted designers and illustrators and was one of the most influential Parisian journals of that period. Its target was the fashion conscious who could afford the expensive subscription rate of 100 francs a year. It commenced publication in 1912 and continued until the start of the First World War. At that time, Paris was enjoying a period of opulence and sumptuousness in dress and ornamentation, and these engravings reflect the lives of the leisured and wealthy elite in what has aptly been called La Belle Époque. It was published on expensive handmade paper and had an exclusive print run of 1,250. The engravings were hand-coloured using hand-cut stencils, a technique known as pochoir. They showed really fine details and gave a detailed description of fabrics, colours and cuts, so these images could be brought to a dressmaker to recreate the latest Parisian trends. There were dresses for garden parties, tea dresses, dresses for taking walks, for visiting, dresses for afternoons and evenings, for going to the beach, to the races, and there were even dresses for wearing at home. Well, you never know who might drop in. This elegant lady might be dressed to meet a friend for a walk in the park, or perhaps have lunch or afternoon tea in one of the fashionable boulevard cafes or restaurants. Like many women at that time, she carries a large fur hand warmer called a muff. They also wore striking hats. Some were turbans, some were shaped like lampshades, and others, like in this image, were decorated with ostrich, peacock, or other large feathers. If she was going out in the evening, maybe to the theatre or to a dinner party, she would have changed into something more glamorous, like this beautiful dress. She would also have very carefully chosen which necklace, bracelets and rings to set off her look, and of course, choose her fan. How exotic is this lovely dress? There were many talented designers working in Paris at that time, and this beautiful dress is one of the creations by Léon Bakst. He was born in Belarus and started his career as an art teacher. In fact, one of his pupils was Marc Chagall. But he went to Paris and joined the young progressive artists and designers who had become tired of the stage realism and the frilly tutus of the 19th century. When Diaghilev brought his famous Ballet Russe to Paris in 1909, it caused a sensation. Its music, choreography, and above all, the amazing sets and costumes took Paris by storm. Bakst turned his painting skills to theatre and costume design for the Ballet Russe, including for their greatest dancer, Nijinsky. The audiences went wild for his designs. They loved his use of bright colours, sumptuous fabrics, bold patterns, and dramatic makeup. Other famous designers who worked with the Ballet Russe included Coco Chanel, Picasso, Miro, Dali, and Matisse, who, together with Léon Bakst, brought an incredible beauty and excitement to fashion. This lovely image is a design by the Danish artist Gerda Wegener. She left Copenhagen with her husband, the illustrator Einar Wegener. They arrived in Paris in 1912, towards the end of the Belle Époque. They befriended many artists and dancers and immersed themselves in the bohemian lifestyle of the time. They were extremely talented. Gerda made illustrations for Vogue and soon became famous for her sensual, free-spirited designs, illustrations and portraits. She was one of the most important fashion illustrators of the 1920s and 30s and became Denmark's most prominent exponent of Art Deco. Her work often featured a mysterious beauty with a stylish short bob, full lips and lovely brown eyes, as we see in this image. It may be that the mystery model was her husband, Einar. The story is told that one evening one of Gerda's models didn't show up for a sitting, so Gerda jokingly suggested to Einar that he sit for her, in a pair of stockings and heels. It was a moment of awakening for him and enabled him to come to terms with his real gender identity. She changed her name to Lili Elbe, and in the years that followed, she became Gerda's chief model. In 1930, Lili went to Germany for one of the world's first gender reassignments. She wanted to become a mother, but a subsequent surgery to transplant a uterus was not successful and Lili died from complications. Lili Elbe is immortalised in the 2015 movie The Danish Girl, starring Eddie Redmayne and Alicia Vikander. The movie was inspired by the fantastic fashions, art and lifestyle of Gerda Wegner and her former husband. Gerda won many awards for her work, including 2 gold medals at the World Exposition in Paris in 1925, and today 3 of her paintings are on display in the Pompidou Centre in Paris. I think it's appropriate to end with this design by Paul Poiret. He was known as the king of fashion and was one of the most influential designers of the Belle Époque. He created clothes that followed the natural contours of the body. He introduced hobble skirts, harem pantaloons and lampshade tunics. His new fashion designs were high-waisted, long-sleeved, floor-length and were made of fine, floaty, see-through material, and they were often quite fragile. Dresses were wide at the hips and narrow at the ankle, and his coats were cocoon-like or kimono-shaped. Paul Poiret was a huge success. Women loved his colours and soft fabrics, the tassels, the layers, the shapes and looseness of the designs. They loved the feathers, the ropes of pearls, the jewellery, and the eclectic mix of kimonos and other Eastern influences. Paul Poiret continues to inspire our designers today, but one thing many women will thank him for is that his loose, floaty designs led to the eventual demise of the corset. I hope you have enjoyed these images of some of the beautiful Parisian designs of the Belle Époque, and I especially hope that you will be able to visit the Chester Beatty in the near future, where you can see some more lovely fashion plates and other artworks which are on display.